Hello everyone, thanks for joining me in this video. SDP leader Adebayo exposes Tinubu and Boko Haram in what appears to be a very dramatic turn of events. The SDP leader Adebayo gave revelations alleging that Boko Haram office or Boko Haram head office is in Asorok, alleging that the president, the Grand Commander of the Armed Forces, and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is one of the masterminds of insecurity in the country. That is quite a very heavy one. This is a political opposition trying to discredit the sitting party or the sitting government. But beyond that, I want you to listen to what he has to say, the submissions he made, and the reason why he believes that Tinubu is involved in whatever that is going on in security. Those in Asorok are the main Boko Haram or terrorists ravaging and exploiting the Nigerian populace. It's a heavy allegation, so possibly he could be invited by the DSS or so to clarify himself. But I think he has a very vital point or message he's sending across that there is no way, just as the late Abacha said, that insecurity will persist beyond 24 hours without the involvement of those within the corridor of power. I think these are the emphasis he's laying, that for insecurity to have endured beyond not just 24 hours, beyond a decade, and so those within the corridor of power should be involved or investigated. What he claims that these people are the Boko Haram in the office, while that of the bush, there is no negotiation. They are all involved in whatever is going on to exploit the Nigerian masses, deceiving the gullible ones. Let me leave you with this video to watch, and thereafter you can make your own observations either for or against his positions.
So you cannot take someone that is virtually senile and another person that has been associated on several occasions with funding terrorism. That is Kasim Shatima. Kashi Shatima, we should not forget Kabiru Sokoto. Kabiru Sokoto was one of the most wanted terrorists, and he was found and arrested in his house. Let us understand and let us not forget this terrorism, this banditry, this carnage is not just happening by mistake. It's a multi-billion dollar industry. A multi-billion dollar industry because it takes a lot of money on the defense budget. It has a lot to do with the sale of drugs. It has a lot to do with mining and illegal bunkering and illegal and illicit mining.
The cardinal responsibility of any responsible government is the protection of lives and property. We are discussing negotiating with terrorists here and there. They release today, they go back and pick again. How do you feel as a Nigerian?
There is no negotiation with terrorists. What you have are official terrorists and bush terrorists having a conversation. So what you call negotiation is the discussion of a sharing formula between the official terrorists who bring the money and the unofficial terrorists in whose name they are collecting the money. The racket. They are running a racket in front of you. There's a lot of money in government, and insecurity is one way to collect it without receipts. That's what they are doing. They just scamming the Nigerians. There is no insecurity in the land that Nigerian armed forces, Nigerian police cannot get rid of under a good presidential system, under a good presidency. They will get rid of it. What they are doing is just scamming you. Just that they are constructing roads to nowhere. They are building bridges that will never finish. There are a lot of projects in the sky. They found out that all other projects you will ask them, where's the road, where's the bridge, where's the school. But if they inundate you with insecurity, you cannot, and they say they rescue 500 children and 500 billion is gone, you cannot ask for receipts. If they are in the bushes exchanging food and drinks with terrorists and tell you that they have spent 4 trillion to keep you secure, you know you can't ask questions. That's why the president will tell you, every president will tell you, I will finish them. But when he comes in, they finish him with money. And he feels, okay, this is an easy way to raise money for campaign. That is why Nigeria has, in the world of hotel business, Nigeria has the highest number of military generals owning hotels, estates, and everything, on a salary of how much? Imagine an untrained person who happens to be a fanatic or a lunatic, and he says he's setting up a band of terrorists, and they are occupying territories the size of a state. How are they financing it? The logistics of it, the communication, and the whole country cannot raise an army to defeat them. If a terrorist is recruiting, before you can get 1,000 people, the government will know that it's a terrorist already. The government can quietly recruit 100,000 soldiers and nobody will know, and train them. A terrorist can be sponsored by 2 or 3 countries. Nigeria has 146 international friends. Many of them have treaties with us that will not stop them, that will not allow them to give excuses not to assist us. And many of the terrorists are well known. They have telephone numbers of governors. And every commissioner of police in the state has the telephone number of terrorists in that state. So, I will end this camp. Oh, and clear. There's nothing complicated there. The real terrorist is in the Azovila. The headquarters of Boko Haram is the same address of Tinubu. So if you post a letter to Tinubu, if it doesn't come out on time, Boko Haram will collect the letter and read it and pass it to him. They live together, they work together, they plan together, and they share together.
How do you mean that the headquarters, the address is at the villa?
Because the villa, the state house, is where all this criminality is being planned. If you deceive yourself and think that the Nigerian army cannot defeat the terrorists, then you don't know the Nigerian army. Try and whistle at the wife of a general and see how the entire barrack will descend on you. Try and a home minister of SCT could not collect 1 plot of land. You saw how that Navy captain stood his ground there, telling Wike, yes, we are not coming here. Imagine if every captain stood their ground and said terrorists not entering Nigeria like that. If the armed forces strong enough to stop a minister who is representing the president from misbehaving on the land that he has interest, say I have my orders. So are you telling me if the president of Nigeria gives an order that the whole of Lagos State will be evacuated, the army in Lagos will evacuate everybody? If they give an order that the whole of Kano State will be evacuated, the army has enough capacity to evacuate the whole state. The president made a proclamation, and the entire government house was possibly evacuated in 1 day.
If you are bald and over 50, you need to upgrade your shaver to this 4D 5-in-1 grooming.
So you are telling me that the president wants to end this thing, he will not end it, but their political money is tied to it. And if you think maybe because I don't like them, maybe I don't pretend about that. Go and read the EFCC reports on what Jonathan did with the money he borrowed in the name of fighting Boko Haram. You are a journalist, you saw the trials, you saw the investigation. Who was collecting the money? The money was shared with politicians, girlfriends, contractors.
Now, having listened to the elder statesman Adebayo, the leader of the SDP, I would also want to leave you with the current events involving, was it St. Mary Catholic Church School or so, and what the staffs or the teachers revealed, the revelation the teacher made when they were granted interview. Was it in one of the conventional medias? Is it IRS TV or so? What they have to make, the submissions they made, will also give credence to the position expressed by the leader of SDP. You know, beyond mere criticism and the rest of them, we might deduct something from that. Where one of the ladies said, we saw a helicopter accompanying the terrorists carrying out surveillance while the terrorists are with the children packing and rounding up. Skazo zamu kwashe su motoka kudi also. That is, we are going to kidnap them so that money will come. If a helicopter is involved in this process, now that raises a question. Does it mean that the security and the air force is no longer in charge of the airspace, Nigerian airspace, and the rest of them? And it's rather unfortunate where and who is the owner of the airplane that was used. And unfortunately, the children was moved out. So it is a money-making venture, and just as the senators have argued, who gave the order to evacuate the military personnel before these incidents happened? And the president have not given an answer to that. At the Senate plenary, they were asking, who gave that order to move the military before such incidents happened? I think I heard even Senator Beribe, Senator Shomole, and one of other persons from the north. They were interested to know. So Nigerian can't be kept in the dark. You see, whatever is happening is quite sketchy and suspicious. If under the watch of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, an order was given for the security attached to the school, a particular school in Kebbi, was moved according to the claim of the governor of Kebbi State, that before the incident there was an order was given to move the military, and eventually the assailants or the terrorists of Boko Haram, whatever they are, whosoever they are, came to evacuate these children, and thereafter money exchanges hands, and nobody knows in hundreds of billions, whatever may have exchanged hands. So this is one of the concerns this man also raised. Let's listen to what this man, the lady has to say before we come back again.
We heard bangings on our gates and the children wailing, crying, and we heard voices saying in Hausa, meaning that we should pack the children and get money. We were there until after maybe there about 4. We heard kind of a helicopter hovering around, and we were not sure who was in the helicopter. Like, we were afraid probably they were even bandits, but we didn't know. So it hovered for some minutes. I'm not sure it was up to 30 minutes. No, just hovered around, and at a certain point we didn't hear it again. So that was how it was. But then the helicopter came after we heard them driving off. They drove off, we heard the sound of cars, but we couldn't tell how many cars were there, and bikes. And they sounded so many, overwhelming, that we couldn't tell about the numbers.
I'm very
understand that the children up to now, they are not yet back. All I'm pleading at this moment is for the government to please, and all those who are touched by this incident, to please look for ways on how to rescue these children back to us and our staff. That is all I'm pleading for at this moment. Nothing more than that. They should release them and bring them back to us.
The Catholic Bishop of Kotangora Diocese and proprietor of the school, Most Reverend Bulus Yohana, expressed optimism about the safe rescue of the children and teachers, saying the school serves over 50 communities within and outside Aguara local government area.
So I'm calling on the federal government and the state government to do whatever it takes to bring them back, because many of the parents, in fact, we have already recorded 2 deaths, one man and one woman from different families who are affected by this incident that happened. So the more these children are away from their parents, the more the situation, especially the parents. So a pity that many of them, we can't contact them, we don't even know the real situation that they are
hoping for.
Well, whether we like it or not, we are living in a global village. Let me use a very popular cliche. I mean, the world knows our situation, which is the reason why those who really are concerned about what's going on in this country, look, there are attempts by interests to take over huge territory, part of Nigeria, part of Chad, part of Cameroon, part of Niger, and turn it into the global headquarters of terror. Those in intelligence circles know this. I'm saying this publicly now. A lot of people know this. We must never allow that kind of thing to happen. We don't want to live under ISWA. We don't want to live under Boko Haram. We don't want to live under Lukarawa. We don't want to live under...
You cannot compare and contrast. Also, let's listen to this, and you will be very interesting to note that the man's submissions are valid. His arguments are very logical. That the military are not weak, but what is weak is the system, the one in the helm of affair, who lacks the political will to chart the way forward. He said the military has the capacity to dislodge the terrorists. How much are they in population? That they could be overrun in a matter of days. But unfortunately, there is something going on which the political elites are not telling us. As some of the terrorists have alleged or argued, that they are not the one responsible. They were just headers with stick, and eventually they handed the people in the government handed over to them AK-47 and the rest of them to begin to terrorize indigenous communities. It is very unfortunate, and if this is happening under the watch of a government supposed to be prioritizing the safety and the welfare of Nigerians. Honestly, thousands and hundreds of thousands of Nigerians has been killed and tens of millions displaced, dislodged, and forcefully pushed out of their ancestral homes. Could it be that some persons are so callous that they derive pleasure in seeing humanity brought to its knees? It's rather unfortunate. Why has they not been able to solve the case of insecurity? He argues that it is not a rocket science. They are in collaboration with whatever is going on because they could raise funds for their politics and campaign through that means. And now the question is, just as the senators have raised concern, tell Nigerians and the world who gave the order. The order may have come, may have possibly should have come from the military hierarchy. And being the Grand Commander of the Armed Forces, he should know whosoever may have given the order. And for him to exonerate himself from whatever allegations or speculations that may be out there is to come open and plainly said it was an order given by so, and such person should be summoned and queried and possibly disciplined for bringing so much shame, disgrace, and embarrassment to the country. But do they even care about whatever happens, whether Nigeria is being dragged to the board or whatever, provided their interest is protected? Every other thing is immaterial. It is rather unfortunate, honestly, what is going on. I was dumbfounded listening to these very silent consigns running deep, very loud and deep, honestly, being expressed by this the statement. I think it's a food for thought, and everyone who has conscience will begin to reason with him, of course, understand what he is trying to pass across, which definitely shouldn't be considered uh, out of place. Honestly, the government should have the capacity to dislodge the non-state actors, except they have vested interest in whatever is going on. But the people can't continue this way, that there must be a change, and this change possibly might come by understanding and knowing fully well that the security operatives are not weak, but you've heard cases where the combatant men on uniform has complained, have expressed frustration. They are not being given the matching orders to go and confront these people head on. Even when they intend to do that, you will see some orders coming from their superiors asking them to withdraw and the rest of them. It is rather unfortunate. You begin to ask, something is fundamentally wrong. And the government, those in the seat of power, has so much explanations to give convince Nigerians that they are not part of this conspiracy. Let's have your own take regarding this development. It's rather unfortunate, honestly, what is going on.